There's a number of very interesting things that I think converge and bring us to a certain message that I want to bring out from the Parsha. You know, we read this Shabbos about the Aseres HaDibros, the amazing spectacle of Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah to the Jewish people at Har Sinai. And it is preceded by an episode which seems somewhat disjointed from the entire climax of Matan Torah. Because the event that leads up to this event is the story about Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, who is a non-Jew, who comes and hears about all of the miracles that Hashem has done. And like the Torah says, Vayomer Yitro, Baruch Hashem, Asher Hitzil Eschem, Miyad Mitzrayim Miyad Paro. Blessed is God who has saved you from the hands of Mitzrayim. And now I know, Ata Yadati Ki Gadol Hashem Mikol HaElokim. Now I know that Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the Lord of the Jews, is the superior God. And then what does Yitro do? Yitro then, the Torah tells us, Vayikach Yisro Chosein Moshe. That Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe, takes Ola Uzvachim Le'Elokim. He takes burnt offerings and gift offerings to God. Vayavo Aharon B'chol Ziknei Yisrael, and Aharon and all of the elders of Israel come Le'echol Lechem, to dine with Im Chosein Moshe, the father-in-law of Moshe, Lifnei HaElokim, before God. We also then have the episode that comes immediately after this epiphanous moment that Yitro has about God, and he notices that people are coming to Moshe to Paskin Shilas. They come to Moshe and they're standing on line. They want to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they're standing in line from morning until evening. And Yitro tells him, this system that you have, Moshe, is not an efficient system. You've got to create a hierarchical judiciary where people go to lower judges and then funnel their way up if they have a difficult issue to higher judges, and then finally coming to you, the Supreme Court judge. That's the way you should do it. Moshe assents to Yisro's words, and he sets up the judiciary that way. And then the parak, the chapter ends, and it says in Pasuk Chav Zayin, Vayishalach Moshe es choseno, vayelech lo el artso. Moshe sends Yitro away, he goes back to his land, and boom, immediately after we have the events of the Jewish people converging in Har Sinai. So what's the connection? What are we supposed to derive from the fact that the Torah juxtaposes these two accounts right next to each other? There's a joke that they say. One of the things that you learn from this whole story is, what does Moshe Rabbeinu do? He sends his father-in-law away, which teaches us that if you're a father-in-law, don't give your son-in-law advice, because then he'll send you away. Because that's exactly what happened in the story. Moshe's father-in-law gives him advice. Listen to me, this is what you should do. Moshe says, thanks, Dad. Have a nice day. Sends him away. But that's, of course, said in jest. Something still important for fathers-in-law to learn. And maybe mothers-in-law too, I'm not sure. So one of the things I wanted to just observe is that the Torah uses a very interesting verbiage in describing how Yitro offers karbanos to Hashem. Now, when you talk about a person bringing a korban to Hashem, what verb comes to mind when you talk about bringing a korban? What verb comes to mind? La'akriv, right? Leha'alot, to elevate, right? So when you talk about Jewish karbanos, those in the book of Vayikra, or in the book of Shemos later on when we talk about the dedication of the Mishkan, we talk about the verb vayakrivu, or vayakrev. He brings forth a korban. Or vaya'alolos b'mizbeach. He elevates the sacrifice. But what's the verb that we use in describing how Yitro brings a korban to Hashem? Vayikach? Vayikach? What does vayikach mean? He takes. That's the way you're going to describe the offering of a korban, to take? What is that supposed to teach us? I think there's a very, very profound lesson here. And it's almost earth-shattering in the way that the Torah is trying to describe it. It'll explain why we're juxtaposing these two stories, one against the other. The Torah is a revolution to the ancient world in its religious experience. Because while religion has always existed from time immemorial, as we just were discussing, about how mankind has always striven to create a nomos, a structure for himself out of the cosmos, and about life, the experience of life. But up until the Torah is given, the Torah, the whole concept of religion is, what do I give to the gods in order to gain something, some kind of utilitarian benefit? That's the purpose, that's the function of religion. After all, either I go to the totem pole and worship, or I bring an animal as a sacrifice, or I burn incense to the god. And then what's supposed to happen? I'm supposed to get something. It's supposed to rain. I'm supposed to get children, or find a nice wife, or whatever the particular sacrifice is about. The Torah is revolutionary in describing what the reward of Matan Torah is. What is the benefit to the Jewish people of receiving the Torah? Is it now that you have a more powerful God that you can worship so that you'll get more stuff? So take a look at the way the Torah describes in source number 3, in the very next chapter after the portion of Yitro. Take a look at how the Torah describes what Hashem promises the Jewish people if they accept the Torah. The Torah says, Moshe Allah El Elokim. Moshe goes up to Hashem, Allah. Notice this contrast. Moshe has to ascend now up to God. Vayikroy lav Hashem minahar lemor, ko samar leves Yaakov v'saged livnei. So this is what I want you to tell the Jewish people. Atem risam asher asisi limitzrayim. You've seen that which I've done to Egypt. Vo'esa eschem al kanfei nesharim va'avi eschem eloi. I have borne you on the wings of eagles, and I have brought you to me. Ve'ata im shamoa tishmu b'koli yushmartem es brisi. If you hearken unto my voice and you observe my covenant, v'yisem li segula mikol ha'amim kilikos, you will be to me as the treasured people. Ve'atem tiyu li, you'll be to me. Mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh. You will be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. There's no promise of material gain. There's no promise of rain. There's no promise, that is contained in the Torah. But that's not the guarantee of receiving the Torah. Receiving the Torah and buying into becoming the people of the covenant is not a guarantee that you'll have a stronger God that can gain you certain benefits, but rather you'll have a relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam. That's the payoff. The payoff is that you will ascend up to heaven and become the people that are closest, my chosen people. That's revolutionary. That's a mind-blowing experience. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu looks at Yitro and he says, Vayikach Yitro. Yitro relates to God as the God who does quid pro quo. You bring him a sacrifice, he'll give you stuff. Yitro, I'm sorry, I love you, you're my father-in-law. You have a wonderful daughter, she's my wife. We built a lovely family together. But you don't have the same worldview that is required in order to receive a Torah that is meant for the Jewish people. If that's your conception of what religion is and what the gratification that religion brings with it, that's not what the Torah is all about. Chazal ask a question that's quoted by Rashi in source number 2. If you notice that pasuk in Perek Yud Ches, pasuk Yud Beis, where it says that Yitro takes his sacrifices, so who joins Yitro? Take a look back at that pasuk, pasuk Yud Beis. Who joins Yitro? Vayavo Aharon v'chol ziknei Yisrael. Aharon and all of the elders of Israel sit down and join Yitro in his sacrificial feast. So asks Rashi, Umoshe heichan halach? Where did Moshe go? How come he's not sitting down with the Shver and joining him at the Tish and enjoying the sacrificial feast together with his brother and all of the Zikanim and all of the elders? So the Rashi answers, Elashaya omedu mishamesh lifnehem. Moshe was serving the guests. But I believe that perhaps there's part of, maybe either Rashi is saying this or perhaps in tandem or as an augment of what Rashi is saying. What Moshe is trying to demonstrate to Yisro is that that's not what our religion is about. The way you worship your God, or our God, even if you choose to worship our God, but if it's going to be vayikach, if it's going to be in the mode of, okay, you're the head honcho, Yud Kei Vav Kei, the God of the Jews, you're number one, so I guess I should bring all my sacrifices to you because you can give me the most stuff. After all, I've seen what you did for the Jewish people. So Moshe says, that's not the kind of sacrificial feast that I want to model for the rest of my people. That's not what we're in this for. We're in this for to have a relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam. And if you notice, that's all that Hashem promises when he offers the Jewish people the Torah. There's no physical reward. There's not even a spiritual reward. There's no Olam Haba either. There's just, you'll be my people. You'll be my children. We'll be very, very close. And we have to remember that that's ultimately what Antigonos Ish Socha was trying to tell his students. This perennial battle within every single Jew to try and shrug off this Yitro-like ancient religious worldview that religion is utilitarian in its benefit. That's not the objective of observing the Torah. Is that, if I observe the Torah, I'll get more stuff. The objective that Antigonos tries to tell his students is, Al tiyu ka'avadim hamisham shemes harav al manas l'kabel pras. The objective is not that you should serve the master with the hope of receiving a reward, because vihi marash shamayim aleichem, because the fear of heaven has to be upon you. Think about the God in heaven that you have this relationship with. That in itself is its own reward. Have a great day, everybody.